It has always struck me as unfair that the people who make what we do possible get no bylines, no prizes, and not even the full measure of respect from the institutions they have made better, wrote Bill Keller, a former executive editor of the New York Times, to John Burns, one of our longtime foreign correspondents. If they had a Pulitzer Prize for enabling great journalism, Jane would be my first nominee. For the more than 100 Times journalists and photographers who worked in Afghanistan and Iraq over the past 15 years, Jane Scott Long, to whom M.R. Burns was married for nearly 40 years, from their first years together in southern Africa until her death at 69 in September, was the linchpin that held together the difficult bureaus in those places. She was a force to be reckoned with, the person who could help you find almost anything you needed even when you were seemingly in the middle of nowhere, the one who made the cars and the staff run on time. Her job was unique in its scope and challenges, and, in an era of forever wars, indispensable. She was the bureau manager, first in Islamabad as Times reporters waited to get into Afghanistan after September 11, and then in Kabul. Finally, she was the mainstay of the Baghdad bureau. Reporters, photographers, and security advisors came and went. Jane stayed. In Kabul, the bureau she renovated became the envy of the city. People would come in, sink into one of the chairs in front of the fireplace and say, "Wow, this feels like a real house." A major attraction was the garden, which was filled with Afghan roses that bloomed from late May until October. When she first found the place, its walls had been blasted by rocket fire, it had blood stains on the basement walls, neighbors said it had been used as a barracks by the Taliban, and it lacked plumbing, a kitchen, running water, electricity, and heating. In Baghdad, there was an old, tired house on the Tigris, which in the beginning served as a base for everyone: reporters, Iraqi staff, interpreters, and drivers. But it soon became clear that this was wholly insufficient for the burgeoning Times operation: only 2 bathrooms for a score of Iraqis and Americans, and little by way of protection against the suicide bombers who were then beginning the murderous attacks that made life in Baghdad a lottery for all foreigners with links to the United States. Jane commandeered a monstrous concrete block of a building next to the original Times house, its 40 urinals testament to its previous use as a barracks for Saddam Hussein's secret police, and quickly began organizing what would become the largest New York Times bureau in history. Overseeing construction work despite the fact that there was little electricity, she imported massive generators from Britain, a dearth of electrical and plumbing supplies, she ordered them from Jordan, and a steadily increasing number of insurgent attacks, she ignored them. We used to count the mortars and rockets as they flew over the house and into the Green Zone, the fortified headquarters that housed the U.S. military command, the American embassy and Iraqi government offices.